Welcome to Chi-Town Cigar Podcast, the podcast where three Chicago guys light up a fine cigar and get into everything from sports and current events to hobbies, life's little moments, and everything in between. Whether you're here for the cigars, the conversation, or some good laughs, we got you covered. So grab your favorite smoke, settle in, and join us for laid-back chats with a Chicago twist. Now it's time to put some smoke in the air.
It's Tuesday night in the Windy City, and that means another episode of Chi-Town Cigars. Glad you joined us live or listen to us later on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or even Amazon Music. I'm Mike, coming to you live from the Aganorsa Studios in Central Illinois. What's up, guys? You ready for a big show?
I am ready.
Yeah, I am totally ready. Very excited for tonight.
Yeah, it should be. We're going to wade through this heat. We're all getting slammed. I don't know what our listeners are getting slammed with heat, but yeah, we are getting slammed with heat. So, but let's get this ball rolling right away, and bring in our guest. Don't forget to share and like the podcast before we forget.
Do that now before you forget.
Yes, share and like.
Subscribe.
Yes. Yep. All right, here we go. Tonight's guest probably doesn't need an introduction, but we're going to give him one anyways, whether he likes it or not. If you spent more than 5 minutes on cigar social media, you've probably seen Steve Saka. Maybe you agreed with him. Maybe you argued with him. Maybe you got blocked by him. Whatever happened, you definitely remembered it. Steve has never been accused of being short on opinions or volume. He'll tell you when a cigar is great, when an idea is terrible, and sometimes he'll do it before you even finish asking the question. The funny thing is, beneath all the blunt honesty is one of the brightest minds in the premium cigars. As the founder of Dunbarton Tobacco Trust, Steve has earned the respect of smokers around the world by making cigars that speak for themselves, even if Steve's perfectly happy speaking for them too. So tonight, we're talking tobacco, blending, business, the state of the industry, and who knows what else. We've hidden the sharp objects, silenced the lawyers, and warned our sponsors that absolutely nothing said tonight has been pre-approved. So grab your favorite cigar, settle in, and if you're easily offended, this might not be a good time for this top podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, and we do have some ladies, the one and only Mr. Steve Saka. No, we got to bring him there. There we go.
Yeah, I'm still pretty pink, man.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep fucking with this camera. Oh, by the way, am I allowed to swear or am I not allowed to swear? I guess I
Hell yeah, you can swear.
Before I swear, I should probably ask, can you swear?
Oh yeah, no, that cherry got broke probably about 15, 20 episodes ago. So there's no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah. Sorry about the focus, guys. Hey, that introduction was a bit over the top, except I could hear the enthusiasm there. I think that was Teddy. He was like, yeah, we're gonna do it, dude.
I'm very excited. So I'm on my third Dunbarton today.
Come on. You know how to make a guy feel fucking low.
I know.
It's because I had issues with the internet. That's why, Steve.
We're all having issues.
He's outside, so the heat's really getting
And
to him.
it's 103 degrees right now, guys. So
where are you actually in Chicago?
No, I'm by Villa Park, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Still, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Today. I guess tomorrow's supposed to be more miserable. At least it is here.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm going to do the office tomorrow because my office is unair conditioned.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, what?
And it's literally like an oversized Vietnamese sweat box. In fact, my office is actually the former humidor when we started the company.
Wow.
Yeah, it's look, I live in New Hampshire, so if there's no lights on and there's no electronics in the room, it stays perfectly fine, right? But once you put bodies in there and things generating, air filter, fan, little scent puffy thing to make the air smell nice, computers, printers, it's pretty bad. In fact, we're supposed to see an AC guy on Thursday about getting some, because I just basically said I'm done. I'm not coming anymore. This is ridiculous.
Well, before we get too far into it, let's go through what everybody's spoken. But before we get to that, I pulled out all the stops tonight, and against what everybody's thinking, we're going to do a giveaway tonight. So we are going to raffle off a Dunbarton hat and a 4-pack of cigars and one of our Chi-Town Cigar Podcast ashtrays. So if you want to be
pretty
considered,
nice. What is that made out of?
it's a 3D. It's 3D. One of the guys. Yeah.
Do what Swatch does. Call it bioceramic.
Okay. There we go. Bioceramic.
It just sounds so much sexier than plastic. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
It has a little box inside. It's nice. Really good.
So if you want to be entered into the contest or into the drawing, you just have to make a comment tonight, and we're keeping track of whoever makes comments, and we will enter you into the raffle at the end of the evening. But before, again, what's everybody smoking? Marty, what are you smoking tonight?
Yeah, Marty, what are you smoking?
Right now, I'm smoking this Pico Fuerte, but that is a prelude to. I'm going to smoke this Culebra tonight. I've never smoked a Culebra before, and I picked up this Culebra from the event that Steve and Ronnie had.
Take it back, Terry. I meant to blame him. It's not you, man. It was him.
Me.
It's a very Eeyore-ish going on right now, right? A little.
I was at a lounge.
Never smoked a Culebra before.
Never.
You're missing nothing, dude. In fact, you're gonna feel stupid smoking it.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
You look dumb doing it. The only saving grace is it's actually pretty good, which is also surprising because normally you look stupid and they're not good. At least this time it'll taste good while you're looking dumb. So that's the best I could do for you. So.
Is there a trick to untying these knots?
No, you use a pair of scissors or a knife.
I was at a lounge last week, and there was a guy in the lounge smoking all three of them at one time. Not the Dunbarton, but he was smoking a Culebra, but all three of them at the same time. I don't know how he did it.
I think people do that as a goof. It's the same reason why people smoke those I don't even know how big have we got now. Are we over 150 ring gauge? I think we are, right? They got some nonsense stuff out there.
I can say Aganorsa does the 10x100, so that's big.
Asylum went and beat their record with
yeah.
So I mean, nobody's. I mean, they're smoking it for enjoyment, but it's not smoking enjoyment. It's the spectacle of it, right?
Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you could smoke them all together. I never have tried that before. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work.
I'm not trying that.
Yeah, it's that's I don't know how people do it. I've seen it at the lounge where I work, but doing all three together, it's crazy.
Humboldt asked where we're at in Chicago. We're all over the place. We are north, south, and central. So
technically, we're not in Chicago.
Right.
Like, Chicago people would probably yell at us for saying, "Oh, you guys are in the suburbs. Why do you say you're from Chicago?"
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Teddy.
Yeah, we're from Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys grew up in Chicago, so
yeah. So I'm doing the Red Meat Lovers Fritanga, which it's San Andreas. It's got the San Andreas in it, which right now I'm on the San Andreas kick. I'm loving San Andreas tobacco. I don't know why, but it's just special to me. So, and Teddy,
I'm smoking. That's the third one today because I had the Sobremesa Brulé Blue, the Bronzeback, and now the Krakatoa. Love the cigar. Then if I finish it, I have my favorite Resolita Red.
Nice.
So, thank you, Steve.
Yeah, dude, you're like churning through the entire portfolio in a day.
Oh, I got more here. I just didn't want to. I didn't know what to choose, so I just pulled all the Dunbartons that I have, and I was like, hey, I got more downstairs.
Salida Red is our number one cigar.
Yep.
Yeah.
In our top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure I noticed it when it was, but dude,
you did. You shared it. You shared it.
Yeah, dude, I share everything. It's like a venereal disease. I mean, the number of reviews and rankings and all that. The reality is, I don't know. It almost feels like it's time to do the whole copy paste thing all over again. Well, maybe that's being presumptuous. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Steve,
maybe I won't have to, and then I'll be crying in my cup. So,
Steve, what are you smoking?
I'm also smoking. I'm smoking Red Meat Lovers, the new spicy beef stick.
Nice.
Oh, the new one. Nice.
Smaller Vitola of the Fratanga blend.
Nice.
Yeah. So
TX is smoking the 10th Jubilee, which I've heard great things about that cigar.
and I got one of those here, don't I? Yeah, I got a 10th Jubilee here.
Wayne, which we call Wayne your son, because he's the guy, if you remember a couple years ago when we were sitting at Jordan's house, that told you he bought 8 boxes of Bagashi. That's Wayne. So yeah. So
I know Wayne. Wayne's always been a big supporter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So he's probably brought you into more lounges in the Chicagoland area than anybody. Maybe even more than David Lafferty has.
Oh, definitely more than David Lafferty. David Lafferty did the shit in Chicago.
But he will be here, just so you know. He's going to be in the Chicagoland area. He's actually going to be at Little Havana on July 25th. July 25th. Yeah.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
We keep track of this stuff.
Better than me. Like I said, he's an island unto himself. I really don't know what he does, but I know he does it, and I just let it be.
Big old milkshake smoking the Black Label Lawless. Matt Brugger is smoking the EX38 Sakasquatch. Whoa.
That's really good.
Joe Machado is smoking the Tricky Traca 552.
No, he's got to rub in that 75 degrees, don't he? Though.
Yeah.
So hold on.
We're in Florida. He's in Florida.
Hold on. It's hotter here than Florida. That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So yeah. So we got people smoking the Solita Red. David loves the Fratangas. Wayne's just saying comment because he wants to be considered into a raffle he's not going to win. So. All right. So who wants to open it up? Who wants to throw some questions at Steve? Let's get this ball rolling. Anybody?
Go ahead, Marty.
All right. Steve, what'd you have? Like 18 new releases this year?
Felt like it. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a lot and it isn't a lot. It's kind of a catch-22. I mean, some of it seems bigger than it really is. I mean, when you look at, adding spicy beef stick, that's just one skew to the red meat lovers line, right? Just kind of makes logical sense. The Calibra is a novelty item, right? Calibra is something that, albeit that I'm telling you the cigars are really good, and you're going to make that judgment yourself, Marty. You're smoking it now. It's still a novelty no matter what, right? And it's very expensive because we have to make 4 to give you 3 because we crack about 25% of the cigars when we're braiding them. So that's in the cost. In fact, Calibras are making for a lot of Popetta material when we made all the Calibras because, but I mean.
So they roll them straight and then they're
you roll them straight, and then when they're wet, you roll them 2 different lengths, right? So you have one at a shorter length, let's just say 7 inches, and then the other 2 you'll typically roll about, depending on the ring gauge. For really small ring gauges, about a 1/4 inch longer. On the larger ring gauge, like that one is, you're really looking at pretty much 3/8 of an inch longer on the other 2, and then you braid them. And it's when you're braiding them that the wrapper or the binder ends up cracking on you. It's part of the reason why, if you look at the cigars, you'll notice they're a little ugly, because what that is I had to pick out the really heavy, kind of gritty, more sandpapery broadleaf in order to get it to do that, which oddly enough actually adds to the flavor, because ugly broadleaf is often much tastier than the prettiest of the broadleaf. It's just the way it is. And so it actually helps the taste, but yeah, you lose about 1 out of 4. Sometimes you crack none. Sometimes you crack all 3. It's just it's a crapshoot. And then invariably, after they come out of the cool room and you go to the final sort of them, you find ones that cracked after the fact. They braid together fine, but while they were setting up in the cool room, one of them ends up busting, and that's a total waste. You lose all the cigars. We can't you got to braid them all together wet. You can't make a replacement to put in as the third one for the one that cracks. So it's a pretty costly thing for something that doesn't really give you any benefit. I'm really selling this thing. Yeah, but I mean, it's nostalgic. It's part of the cigar culture. Whether the story is that it was made so three friends could share it, or three generations, father, his grandfather, grandson, the three generations sharing it together, or it was the worker getting over on his boss who told him he could have one free cigar to take home every day, and this was the one free cigar he came up with. I don't really believe that story. I don't see, because somebody would do it and we'd all laugh and then say, yeah, fuckhead, stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be like a joke, right? And we'd all chuckle. But there's like no way that shit would ever fly in a factory in 1885.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it would fly in a factory now in 2026, right? So I have no doubt that given the sensibilities of bosses a century and a half ago, that wouldn't cut it. So I've always felt that the story of the worker getting over on the man was a bit of a sales weenie ship. Look, they were marketing stuff back in the 1800s too, Yeah. It's got a little more sophisticated, but they were doing it. So I've always felt like that story was a marketing story, that it really wasn't based in any sort of truth.
It's a good story.
But at the same time, if you've never smoked one, it's something I think everybody should try, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is part of the iconic, Vitolas, and it's just like, I think everyone should eventually try an A size, and everyone should try Lanceros, and everyone should try a Petite Corona. Now, in the end, none of those sizes may suit you, but you might be surprised by venturing out. Now, I don't think you're going to become a Calibra smoker smoking a Calibra. The best you could hope for is you can say, wow, this is really good. I wish they didn't muck it up, right? That's really where you're going to get to with the Calibra. You're going to be like, and I mean, as you can see, it's holding an ash, which is pretty amazing for a cigar that you've managed to twist the living daylights out of. And
draws perfect.
The draw's good. Yeah. No, it's a good cigar that we ruined. What else we got? We got Tapa Negra.
Yeah.
Right.
Excited for that one.
Yeah. Melvin's smoking that.
You got
he just ordered it. He just ordered the Tapa Negras.
We got the Cosmic Corona sampler coming out later in the year. So yeah, there's quite a bit. And then of course you sprinkle in all the little doodads and exclusives and the thises and that's. It adds up. Yeah, I make a lot of stuff.
So let me ask this question, if I can jump in here quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Because you rebranded, or I shouldn't say rebranded, but you redid the Stillwell Stars.
Yeah.
So are you considering those new releases?
Yes and no. I mean, I forgot to even mention that one. I mean, look, Stillwell Star, when we first launched it, did really well. And about 2 years later, the aromatic #1 and the holiday releases kept growing in sales, and everything else kept shrinking in sales. And a lot of retailers took it off the shelf because you've got one SKU in an entire line that sells consistently and growing. And maybe it wasn't even growing for them. And then you've got the holiday special release, which if you don't carry Stillwell in a more wide way, you're not even eligible to get, right? So they didn't even get it. So look, the market spoke, and look, my job, I make stuff I like, but at the same time, Stillwell isn't something that Stillwell is such a unique and different kind of cigar.
It is.
That I don't feel the same way about Stillwell that I feel about a Tricky Traca 648 or a Mike Rita Papa Saka or a Muestra de Saka Naka Tamale. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like Stillwell. It's good. But for me, even it's an occasional, like, hey, let me change my palate up a little kind of thing, right? It isn't my style of cigar on a day in, day out basis. But that's true with Brulee too. I mean, Brulee, I smoke Brulee more frequently than I'd smoke Stillwell, but mostly Brulee Blue was about the only thing that I consistently smoked on my own, for pleasure outside of just quality control stuff. So, and that's even true through some of my heavy stuff. Like I barely ever choose to smoke a Robusto. Not that there's anything wrong with the Robustos. I'm just not a Robusto guy. Right. So Stillwell, it was very evident. People like the sweet aromatics. So
are you, for the new blend, are you keeping the Turkish tobacco inside, the pipe tobacco?
So yeah, all the pipe tobaccos remaining. The difference is the blue one, which is the same color it originally was, and that's the other thing too. We color coded it now, so the particular pipe tobacco, the blend, is identifiable by a color rather than just the footband, because nobody could remember what they were smoking. So the one that was the big seller in blue is still in blue, and it's still in the same Toro. No change. It's just now called aromatic, aromatic dark dulce, right? It's aromatic, it's a dark wrapper, and it's sweet, period. And it's offered in two sizes, a Toro and then a smaller format, which I actually like better, because the way I smoke Stillwell, I prefer more of that. It's a 5x48, so it isn't quite a commitment, and it actually works better for me. And then we took the most popular holiday blend, which was the Connecticut Shade blend, and it's aromatic pipe tobacco, and we made that. So we took the two most popular, and we're just going to make them all the time in two sizes. And then in like a 5x48, it's kind of like a classic Robusto back when we used to consider a 48 Robusto, because now you might consider a Corona Gorda by current standards. And then I threw one more dart at the wall, probably wasting my time, but I went back and I worked with Cornell and Deal, and we softened up the English blend a little bit, okay, to make it a little bit still English, but not so much. More to mimic when you smoke a sweet English pipe tobacco, because they make English tobaccos that they will add a little bit of sweetness, sugar to, and that's what we did. We did a sweet English, and honestly, the sweet English is my favorite of the lot. It's actually surprisingly good. Now, will it sell? I have no clue in how. Will consumers give it another bite at the apple? I mean, look, the consumers that like Stillwell, it's going to be a miracle that they're just not going to say that I just didn't ruin it, because even though it's the exact same thing, the name on the outside of the box slightly changed, right? Yeah. So, but I don't know. My customers seem to be a little bit more intelligent than the average knucklehead. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Look, the retailers that were carrying Stillwell kept carrying it. A few retailers said, you know what? Yeah, they smoke the sweet English. They like the smaller sizes. They like the color coding, where it's very easy to tell which of the three you're smoking. They're willing to put it on the shelf. But had we launched anything other than a revamp of Stillwell, I would have sold 3 times more. So me trying to make Stillwell better was probably stupid. I probably should have just kept my holiday release and my aromatic #1 sales the way they were, and just put a bullet in it. But I don't know if I'm going to dedicate the time and the effort and everything. I want to give it one final chance, because I think the cigar has merit. Look, there are a lot of Stillwell smokers that, there are people out there that it's their favorite cigar that I make, right? It isn't my favorite cigar that we make, but that's neither here nor there. It is by far the best pipe tobacco cigar in the market.
Absolutely. It's
okay. It's head and shoulders, quality wise, material wise, but that's still, just because something's really good doesn't mean there's a market for it, right? So we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll give it a whirl, and we'll see what customers, and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, it's the same thing with as a Lancero. Lancero is not a huge market. You have the specific people that they want Lanceros, but it's a great pipe tobacco cigar, Steve. So very nice job. Yeah.
Well, look, and my favorite one was Bayou, which was the dog of the lot commercial.
That's mine too. Yeah.
Bayou to me is the one that actually mimics the pipe experience the closest. It starts off really mild and a little lemony. It's got a little bit of that zest. And then as you get through it, the Perique starts to kick in, and the body amps up. So it starts mild, but it ends strong. It ends kind of more stone fruity, raisiny, plummy. a little danky, and that's kind of the way a vapor blend smokes when you smoke it in a bowl in a pipe, right? And that's why the cigar smoked.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the one that was the most closest to the experience. But at the same time, even in the pipe world, vapors are the things that old curmudgeon dudes like me, it's kind of like the last stop on the railroad of, oh, I've tried all these different pipe tobaccos. It's kind of like where the hardcore go in the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Vapors become part of their standard rotation.
Yep.
Right. And almost always aromatics almost become like the Stillwell aromatic. They become the occasional. You know what I mean? Oh, it's the holidays. Oh, it's Christmas. Oh, tonight I feel like a little, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my wife's going to be hanging around. I know she likes the smell of this, so I'm going to smoke it because I know she's going to enjoy it, you know. And that where the vapors, the bayou, that's the end of the tunnel for a lot of pipe smokers when they start getting into those Virginia and Burleys and all of that kind of stuff.
So Melvin's got a question. He wants to know how long to finish the blend of the Calibra.
So this is where I should lie because it's a much better story. The Calibra blend is incredibly simple. It's based on the Mi Querida Black blend, trimmed down. So it's I'd like to tell you I agonized over the blend, but the reality was I made 3 variations and I picked variation 2 like almost immediately at the table. Wow. Like, yeah, that's it. This again, it's something that I'm just so intimately familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I've made that genre of blend now well over, over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a long time that I've been making those kind of, you know, what I would consider a core baseline broadleaf Liga. You know what I mean? It's not, and I'm already working from even just within our own portfolio, separate the stuff I've done previously. I mean, you're already starting with the base blue, you're starting with a base red core, you're starting with a base black and a green. So I've already got like 4 iterations that are just really minor tweaks. And then when you throw in red meat lovers, that's really also a variation. Okay. A bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a little smoother than most of the other ones. I don't know if it helps the sales or not to say it's because I think they all think it's like the super heavy, but really a regular red meat lovers is probably the mellowest of my broadleafs. The Pratongas kick it up a little bit, spicy, but so I have a lot of baseline blends that it's really more about, okay, how do I adapt this flavor into a 40 ring gauge is really the issue. So, and again, doing that for a long time too. So yeah, I kind of, I'd like to say I agonized over it, but I really struggled more with the wrapper, figuring out what to do with the wrapper. Struggled more with, well, part of the blend problem. You know, I actually did take a little longer now. I'm thinking about it because we originally were trying to do, look, most Calibras are Panatellas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even a large Calibra will normally be like a 34 ring gauge cigar. Every once in a while, you'll see a 38. This is actually a 40 ring gauge cigar.
Wow. So
that adds a lot more problems when you're braiding them as far as cracking. They're just far less flexible when they get that thick. And I wasn't happy with the blend in 38, but I was happy with the blend in 40. And then that sent us down the, we can't use the grade of wrapper that you normally would use because it just splits, which then ended up having us, you know, kind of figure out, okay, how can we sort another wrapper? And you'll notice that a lot of them are more reddish in hue than really dark in hue. So they're more of a red Maduro than a Oscuro. Like you could even see it on that one. In his camera, it looks really just like a Colorado. It doesn't even look like a broadleaf wrapper. But
yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was curious to see the one I'm smoking, Krakatoa, that you have all these different tobaccos inside it. It's incredible of how much tobacco is in here in this Vitola size. It's incredible. How do you do it? Like you have
a lot of scissors. I mean, look, you're basically having to take full leaves and there's things where you're using a half leaf. There's things where you're using a quarter strip. I mean, if you want that level of complexity in a small ring gauge cigar, it's also part of the reason why small rings are it's a challenge, because it's actually more work to make a good small ring gauge cigar than to make a Robusto and a Toro. And if you want to make it a complex blend, it's way more work to do that.
Exactly.
And yet, from a consumer's perspective, they don't like to pay for it because they feel like, well, wait a minute, why am I paying so much for a skinny cigar or a short cigar like a Corona? When the reality is, at the factory level, the difference between making just a stock Corona versus a stock double Corona, it's only about a 15% actual production margin. It's just the weight of the tobacco. And so it's a real challenge to sell the smaller formats, because the reality is they need to be much more expensive than they are now. In the past, crop science wasn't as good. You would end up with a lot smaller tobacco. You would be forced to make small sizes because you had you had a lot of small material that you had to figure out a way to use. But now crop science is better. We don't get as much Pequeño style tobacco, and also on top of that, when we're talking about a broadleaf cigar, well, even the smallest leaf is massive. So, I mean, you're basically taking a perfectly good leaf, and yeah, you're getting multiple cigars out of it. But the best cigar is always going to come from the tenderloin cut of the wrapper, which is the section that's the closest to the center rib on the left and the right hand side. And then there'll be a second cut, and then you can make Coronas out of the third cut. Okay? But the Coronas made out of the third cut aren't as good. Well, guess what? We use the third cut. It's what we use on Popet. And there you go. Now you have a cigar that's essentially, I don't want to call it a sandwich because that isn't fair, because a sandwich cigar is one where it's a junk blend that whatever the factory's generating and chop just gets into the sandwich. Popet is actually a specific blend, but it's still, in the end, it's a mixed fill cigar. It's a combination of table trimmings from our broadleaf production, Umbagog, Meat Queridas, Red Meat Lovers, and then a couple long filler leaves. And then the wrapper is that third cut on the outside of the broadleaf. So you look at a Popeta, it's a little rough, comparatively. Compared to a lot of stuff, it looks perfectly fine. I mean, it looks as good as a lot of stuff that sells for considerably more. But by my standards, it's just not as attractive. And it's because you're using that outside shoulder of the leaf to make that. But that's also the reason why, I mean, I think the retail on it's like $7 MSRP. And I think once you get it in a box and you get your normal store discount, I think you're sitting at like $6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $6 for a mixed fill cigar with an outside shoulder cut. Well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but most $6 cigars don't have anywhere near the quality of the material, because this material is coming from the cigars that sell for $15 to $20. So
now I think, maybe I'm wrong, I thought I heard you say last year that this year was going to be a year you pulled back and weren't putting out as much.
Yeah,
you pulled out a ton, and then
I don't even want to talk about next year.
Yeah. So JR wants to know what's coming out next. Tapanegra just came out. Frog Juice just came out. He said he wants to know what he's spending his money on next. And I think there's quite a few people. Chris Duque wants you to take his pension check. So
Chris might know better than me. I mean, look, I think the spicy beef stick will be the thing that drops next for sure. And then Stillwell Stars will come after that. I mean, what do I have as far as new limiteds this year? There aren't a lot of new exclusives. I redid the blend on Halligan. Halligan was really good, but it wasn't great in my opinion. It could be better. So, and look, and this is something that you make. I make this decision 2 and 3 years after the fact sometimes. It isn't like the cigars get delivered. Oh, I could have done this better. Once they sit in my humidor and I, visit it back and forth and I go on. And Halligan was just one of those ones where I felt like, the same thing with Frog Juice. Frog Juice's blend that's in the box this year and in the previous year, or 2 years ago, and I think even before that, that was different than the original year's worth of Frog Juice. It was a blend that I like, okay, I can make this blend better. it's the same thing. And so we have a Halligan 2.0, but there'll be more Conalom. I know we just shipped Barba Amaria. I know
the pausers you had.
There'll be more Leche Bora.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that'll come out. I know that for Abe, there'll be Circo de Chaparitos in November because they want more of those. And new blend wise, I haven't even picked the name yet because I'm under a crunch, but I've been working on a Sumatran blend.
Oh,
and we're gonna probably debut that at Cigars Daily in a test in just a simple sample bundle, a factory bundle. It'll probably have a craft paper band on it. The name may be TBD for right now. I don't want I want to think it through, but I had something in mind, but I ended up losing my appeal with the USPTO on a trademark infringement. So it was a little fuzzy, but in the end, they said no, it wasn't fuzzy at all. So that kind of derailed me a little. But the cigar itself is 100% done. So we'll have that in November there. It'll be very small.
Wow.
350 bundles, 400 bundles, something, maybe 500. Yeah,
that's not that small.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, Matt wants to know, with smoking sample blends all the time, do you have a go-to cigar to get away from samples?
Yeah, Tricky Truck, a 648.
There you go. There you go. And Rodney has a question. Do you ever blend with anticipated future aging in mind rather than optimizing for how the cigar smokes at release?
Not exactly. I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, cigars can be very smokable when you buy them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The concept of me saying you've got to sit on this for so long is bad. But then again, there's other blends that I know. You're the Duque is a perfect example. You're the Duque right now is smoking much more pleasurably to my palate than it was upon launch.
Huh.
That's a cigar that ages well. U-Boat is a blend that ages really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Conalom, I believe, I don't know, because I've never smoked any Conaloms that are over 14 months old at this point. But Conalom gives me the vibe when I smoke this cigar is a cigar that's going to really settle into a very, very nice place the older it gets. But I always want to make sure that I feel like it's very enjoyable and palatable for the moment that you get it, and just leave the long-term aging up to the consumer. Now there's certain where things like Brûlé Blue, we age a full year before you release it, right? And when I say a full year, it's really closer to like 14, 15 months, just the way the cycle works. Same thing with the Mi Querida Blacks. They get a full year.
Okay.
Same thing with Paladin de Saka. So those particular blends were blended with the intent of, okay, they need an additional year in the cool room. But I don't really even consider a year is just kind of the starting of aging. You know what I mean? When I think of really aging, I'm thinking 3 years is like the very first kind of like, okay, and then 5 years, and then how's it holding up at the 10-year mark and whatnot. So, I'm definitely blending for the moment, but there's definitely blends that, and also it depends. Like I have a lot of very old Liga Privadas from like when Liga was just, in my opinion, a simply amazing cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they're boring as fuck to smoke now. They've just mellowed too much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They don't give me what I crave out of that blend and how it used to satisfy me in that way. Yeah. Because all the ones I have now are 2013, and I have cigars from 2006-7 to 2013. So all of mine are 15 years or older. Some of them being what's the math? Is that 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 years. 20 years of age on them.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot to ask. There's a lot to ask a blend that's designed to be a rich, strong blend to still be a strong blend, 2 decades into the future. Other people would smoke them and just think, oh my God, this is just so creamy, so smooth, so delicious. I absolutely love it. Right.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I can appreciate that, but it's not what I want. You know,
Yes.
so,
Mhm. I don't know if I heard this story. I don't know if you told us this when you were sitting 2 years ago. You sat with us at a picnic table in Jordan's backyard for about 2.5 hours. So I'm not sure if this is when you told the story or if it was on another podcast. But you told a story about realizing with all of your liquor and all of your cigars that you were saving, that you realized that if you died, whoever the individual was that married Cindy was going to get all of your shit.
Yeah.
So have you started smoking?
I started that moment. I remember the day so clearly. It was like literally like 2002-ish. I remember I have a walk-in humidor. I went to my walk-in humidor. There was something oh, I'm gonna smoke one of those. I'm like, no, it's so expensive and I can't replace it. And I put it back and I grabbed something else. It was just like a Tuesday, right?
Uh-huh.
Go on the back patio and smoke a cigar. So I put that back. I grabbed something. And what I grabbed was perfectly a great cigar, right? I'm not smoking shit.
Right.
Like, oh, this is great and this sucks. I'm gonna smoke the sucky one. No, I picked a perfectly great cigar. Then I went down to the bar and I was gonna oh, I really like some of that. And I'm like, man, that's an irreplaceable bottle. It's already down to like under half. Once it's gone, it's gone. I can't. Maybe I could, but for what? Like at that time, the bottles were like going for like $3,000. I don't even know what a bottle goes for now.
Right.
And it was given to me as a gift, and I've been nurturing it. And I'm like, no, I can't. Let me have this. I was on the back deck, and I was smoking my number 2 selection and drinking my number 2 selection, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? I might die tomorrow. And when I die, Cindy's like young enough. This is even now. I mean, I'm like, she's gonna get married. She's gonna have a boy toy. She's gonna do something, right? I don't see her like. I mean, after the celebration of Saka is dead, right? Then and then she'll probably have some like sort of little like show off mournful period, just out of respect because she's that way. But eventually, I know that there's going to be some other dude banging my wife is what's going to end up ultimately happening. And I'm thinking in my head, and when he's banging my wife, he's then going to go in my humidor and smoke all my cigars. And he's going to drink all my best booze. And it's like, why the fuck am I saving this shit? I mean, I can't do anything about him banging my wife, but I don't have to leave him all my great cigars and great booze, right? Like, who am I saving it for? And at that point, from that point forward, I actually stopped collecting booze. And I stopped collecting cigars, and that was back like 2002-ish.
Wow!
And I do not. I have an absurd amount, more cigars than booze,
right?
But I mean, but it's really just because of the industry I'm in and the job I do that I have so much, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm much more at this point. I'm much more buy it to consume it kind of person.
Yep.
I'm out of my cigar collector phase.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do I understand it? I completely understand it because in 1995 I had 27,000 cigars in my walk-in humidor, right? So therefore, I'm sinner number 1. So it's not like I'm throwing stones at glass houses because I know I live in a glass house,
mm-hmm.
But I got but yeah, I stopped being a collector. I started being more a consumer.
Nice.
I still have stuff that a little special here and there, but I don't feel the way I used to feel about it. And I tell you, and my gluttony has really cost me a lot of money because I have smoked stuff that is just so escalated in value in the auction markets. Like literally, I've easily smoked more than $1 million worth of Cuban cigars. Wow. Well, I don't even know if $1 million is right. I mean, it's like crazy. Some of this stuff got really super, super rare.
Mm-hmm. So Chris has got a question, of course. So he wants to know, have you ever thought of reversing the wrappers on the Tapa Negra? For example, a sweetened brulee cap over a Mi Querida Tricky Traca broadleaf.
I'm not giving away the sweetened part, so strike that from the record.
All right.
So I don't want there to be. Put that back up again. I'm trying to decipher it in English. I'm trying to read this Hawaiian pidgin stuff.
I was gonna say it's in Hawaiian. So
if I'm reversing the wrapper on the ever thought of, okay, for example, no, I never have.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the point of doing the Tapa Negra is to get more flavor in your mouth. So why would I want to take a perfectly good sun-grown leaf or a perfectly good flavorful broadleaf and then put this milk toast Connecticut shade on the top of it? That just doesn't, you know what I mean? I don't think it accomplishes anything. I think it takes away from the smoke. Whereas when you go the other way and you're putting the darker, heavier on the head, you're then getting that stronger, more flavorful taste on your palate without increasing the octane of the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Serves a purpose to me. Whereas it's not going to make the smoke more mellow, putting the Connecticut shade at the head, right? And all it's going to do is just make it less strong and less flavorful in your mouth. But I don't think the people that smoke those style cigars want that at all. Why would they want me to mute the flavor of the blend? You know, it doesn't make sense. Where I can see the other way around, where somebody go, yeah, I really like some stronger richness, but strong cigars maybe don't set well with me. Or maybe it's early in the day and this goes like for example, I smoke almost all the Brulee Blues in the morning. It's very rare I smoke a Brulee Blue later on in the day. Not that it never happens, but that's my time for that. You know, so I can tell you, I think Tapa Negra is going to save me money because I'm going to probably switch to Tapa Negra Corona Gordas more than smoking Brulee Blues.
Huh.
All right, which will be good for me too because we never have enough Brulee Blues.
I smoked the Tapa Negra a couple months ago from the Secreto event. Ronnie gave us one, and I was really amazed by the difference. Just that little piece of tobacco.
And here's the beauty of it: you don't have to take my word for it. Just buy two, and if you're careful, you can peel that wrapper off the head, right? Because it's a fully wrapped cigar underneath a Connecticut shade. You might get some tearing because we put a lot of goma to get it in here, but if you're careful, you can actually peel it off, and then you can smoke two cigars from the same box, one with the Tapa Negra head on and the other one without. And I think when you contrast it, and look, you don't even have to do that because by the Toro, it's Sobremesa Brulee Toro with a Tapa Negra head. That's what it is. So buy a Toro, buy a Tapa Negra Toro, and you can do a side-by-side comparison yourself and see if you can tell the difference. You know?
So just having that little bit in your mouth, not even burning at the time, affects the flavor by way more than I expected.
Yeah, well, because it's coming in contact with your oral membranes, it's mixing with your saliva, it's doing all of those things. And here's the thing: if you smoke it past the band and you actually start to smoke into that, cigar gets really super strong, really super fast. It really changes like poof. It's like night and day when you hit that demarcation line. I don't even know that I would call it pleasant, to be honest with you. I mean, there'll be some people who are going to really love that hit at the very end. But I mean, I don't know that the smoker that wants that hit is going to smoke 4 inches, 5 inches of a Toro to then get the hit in the end. They'd be much more likely to just smoke a tricky Traca, right? I mean, that just makes more sense to me. But definitely when you get beyond the line where they match, it definitely increases an octane.
Nice.
Talk about blends, and then you're smoking at obviously the spicy beef stick. How did you, inject that spice into the cigar? How did you do that?
Well, it's nothing fancy. It's just we use a particularly very high octane version of a Dominican Ligero. It's So it's not even Nicaraguan. You'd assume I'd use Nicaraguan, but there's actually something that we get from the DR that has a real super duper kick to it, and so it's really it's really just modulating down the Seco, a slight increase in the Viso texture, and then the addition of the additional Ligero. And it's really kind of where it is. And really what ends up happening because of the extra Ligero, we actually have to go with a lighter Viso in the blend, which would make it less strong. But by going with a lighter Viso, it also makes the combustion temperature go up a little bit because it burns a little quicker. So So that quicker burn generates more kick too. So yeah, sometimes, I mean, everyone's just like Ligero is how you get a cigar strong, but that's not really true. The VSO could actually have a greater impact because how you modulate the combustion temperature makes a huge difference in how strong a cigar tastes. So sometimes working with the thinner materials that burn faster, because almost all Ligeros burn slow, right? Burning slow cools things down. So it's actually sometimes playing with the VSO mix, not going more Ligero, which just seems to be the road because it's just simple. But the reality is it's counterintuitive, but that actually doesn't always give you the strongest cigar.
Interesting.
Jay Rensick wants to know.
By the way, we're up to like 46 viewers. This is like double our highest live viewership ever. So thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Jay Rensick wants to know, will we see a release for Word of Saka? He bought 6 boxes of the sampler to get as many as he could. So I guess he wants another version of it.
Yeah, no. Look, the intent was always to make Word of Saka. The problem was it has a particular tobacco that was unique, and the tobacco that was used in the Word of Saka blend was from the pilot crop, and there was only enough to make. So I can't remember, roughly like 7,000 cigars, which isn't enough to make a brand release out of. So therefore, putting one as a preview in the sampler was a good way to use the tobacco, because I couldn't hold on to the tobacco because it was 2 years delta for the tobacco that we have now, right? That we're working on for Word of Saka. So it wouldn't have tasted the same, right? Because I would have had something at that point that would have had 3 years of age. And so it was a good way to use the tobacco without just, because it was perfectly good. I didn't want to chop it up. It was also good too, because look, even though it was a few thousand cigars, you learn a lot more when something's actually on the production floor and you're making it steady state than you learn when you're just making the test blends, right? Look, I make the first test blends myself. They're ugly. And then when I get to where I think the blend is right, I then give it to a Moestra pair. And they're typically one of the best pairs in the factory, if not the best pair. And then they make what I made, but they do it professionally, right? Look, I'm not a cigar roller. All right, it's just not my gig. I mean, and how am I going to compare to somebody that's been doing it for 20 years, 5 days a week for 8 to 10 hours a day? I'm not. And so then they make it, and that gives you an idea of, okay, this is what the potential is. And then sometimes the blend gets adjusted after they've made it, because the way they're doing it's different than the way I may be actually doing it. And so you're trying to compensate for that. And then you don't even count that. You then really have to put it on the floor with like the standard pair that's going to make it, because you can't have the one very best pair in the factory make all the cigars. There would be no cigars, right? You'd be basically making 1,000. It'd be like unicorns, right? Unicorns are made by the absolute very best pair, right? The result, you can only make so many unicorns. There's a physical limit because there's only so many hours. So then what you end up doing is you then end up making a run of at least 1,000 with 1 or 2 pairs, right? To just see where they end up being, because things that are not problematic for the Western pair might turn out to be very problematic, right? The texture of a particular material, the way that you're wetting it, maybe too wet, too dry for them. Me asking them to take a pair of scissors and I want you to cut this section of leaf out. I'm like, you know what I mean? You got to go through all of that. So it's kind of nice when you have the opportunity, because almost always we end up making 1,000 cigars that end up going either in the trash, to get mulched, or if they're good enough and they're right, they may end up being part of the PCA sample releases, right? But you don't know. But it's just an investment you have to make. So doing the Word of Saka the way we did it, it let us kind of like, okay, let's work out the kinks. And it also let me also know that, okay, I'm not 100% happy with the Word of Saka blend. I can make that blend better too, right? So when I release Word of Saka, now I think to most people, they're not going to notice the difference, okay? But I notice the difference, and so it's kind of good. But I think you'll see Word of Saka's, probably next trade show.
Okay.
But I don't know that we're going to sell them. I think we might. They won't be the price of unicorns, but they're going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it makes more sense just to give them as thank yous to our most loyal accounts and because it's funny. It's like we don't sell like literally like 95% of the unicorns we make.
Wow.
Okay. Almost all those unicorns are given to our best purveyors.
Mm-hmm.
But other manufacturers give them discounts at the trade show. I just don't believe in this whole discount culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to discount at the retail end, but on the manufacturing end, your margins aren't that great to begin with, right? I mean, you're not. They just aren't. And this whole concept, and what our industry has done, is they basically hyperinflate the price so they can then give a discount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the end, it's one thing if you're buying a closeout. It's one thing if you're, buying a company when a business, you like something, you find something, you get it, boom, boom. But if cigar X, Y, and Z are available all the time for 30 to 50% off, they're not 30 to 50% off. They're actually the right price that they should be. Because if the manufacturer can continue to afford to make them to allow them to be sold that way, that was never a $12 cigar. That was always a $6.85 cigar.
Right.
So we as consumers, we like the feeling of a deal, but the reality is it's a lie. There is no deal unless it's truly a closeout, whatever, shops getting rid of the brand out of their store, companies discontinuing the SKU, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, there are some amazing deals out there. But if it's a product that's all the time available, and you can think of a lot of legacy brands that fit this criteria, the price is just initially hyperinflated, so they can then give you a discount. But there's no free ride on the pony. In the end, they wouldn't make it if it wasn't profitable to make at that price.
Yep.
And therefore, what that tells you is that the price was always bullshit from day one. And that's the way the market works, though. We're in a market that basically rewards the new. Consumers always chase what's next, and they're always willing to pay for it for the first year or two, and they milk the higher dollars for the first year or two, right? They make their like juicy profit, and then over the next couple of years, if it hangs around, it's good enough to hang around, it settles in, and then eventually you end up at prices. And it ain't my job to name brands,
right?
But I think we can all think of a bunch of like really respectable, good quality cigars, but they're so far divorced from what their MSRP was, or is. It's just, and anybody that thinks they're getting an amazing thing, they're just lying to themselves, right? It's a marketing gimmick. Okay, there's a whole philosophy under this whole strategy of sales and discounting and hyperinflating the front end price to give you the back end price.
Yep. Bobber says, I don't think I've ever tried a Dunbarton Tobacco Trust stick that I didn't like. Thank you, Steve, for making so many amazing blends. The Stillwells all remind me of my late father, who was an avid pipe smoker. And it's funny, he says that my son's in the Navy, and a bunch of the Chicago guys put together a care package for his boat a year and a half ago. And it was a bonding time for him and I. I mean, he's a cigar smoker, but it was neat because, you have those moments where cigars remind you of stuff. So
you know what? It's mostly the aroma. We all have a tremendous the synergy between the sense of smell and memories is more overwhelming, I think, for more people than any other sense.
Yep.
More than sight, more than touch. Hearing is also pretty good. You know what I mean? You hear a particular voice, a particular sound, a laugh. I mean, it gives you a feeling.
Yep.
Right? And I think it's the same thing is true with smells. I mean, I so remember what the pillow at my grandmother's house smelled like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And look, it was an old-fashioned goose down. In the summer when it got sticky, it got a little like a weird, like musty kind of funky thing going on. But yet there was just something about that smell that I associated it as being a little kid and visiting my grandmother, watch all the television I wanted to watch, eat all the chocolate chip cookies I could jam in my fat little face. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that smell of that pillow is what just instantly brings it back. And every time I smell a natural goose down pillow, it just floods back like, wow. It just makes me instantly think of staying at grandma.
You were talking about loyal retailers, and we would be remiss not talking about Mr. Abe Dababna and his Summer of Saka. Gary Brooks is with us, the Executive Baller Club. That has got
another one coming. My God, he's already got one. Now up two.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's got to blow your mind what Abe does and what people are spending for your cigars.
Actually, it doesn't blow my mind that they're spending the money for the cigars, and I'll tell you why. Because I spend that too. I mean, if you smoke 3-4 good quality cigars every day, it's like, just think about it. If you're smoking 3 cigars a day, that's basically what? That's about a box a week, a 25 box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most of my boxes are 10s and 13s, right?
Yeah.
So look, I know they're not just smoking mine, but if they're smoking my cigars 1 out of every 4, okay, or 1 out of every, in my case, a little higher for a lot of our customers, it doesn't surprise me they spend that much. Now, it's one thing though, normally when we spend like that, we do it in the closet because we feel a certain sense of shame. Okay, we kind of, and the fact that so many people enthusiastically declare that, oh, I'm doing this, that's a little foreign to me. Okay, but do I understand? Like I did this is back when I had the crazy humidor. I did the back of the napkin calculation like in 98. I spent like in 98 like $67,000 on cigars.
Wow.
That was in 1998 money.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like almost double in today's dollars.
Way different prices.
I mean, it's like it's an absurd amount of money.
I don't feel so
It
bad.
really is when you think about it that way.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
That was when I'm still in my height, my super duper collector phase, right?
Yeah.
So I don't spend, but even now, let's look. I mostly smoke Dunbarton, smoking 10 a day at a retail price point. That probably makes my average daily spend, even at a discount, I'm probably at $130 a day, right? $130 a day. What is that? It's like $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
$4,000 a month. I'm at $48,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. So what does amaze me is, yes, that he's managed to make it into such a communal activity, that he's made it interesting, he's made it exciting, he's added all of the raffles and all the unique swag and all of these things. And those are all the things that, I mean, what retailer goes and makes their own statue, right? I mean,
This series got you riding a unicorn.
Yeah,
I have a question for that. Do you think you can make somebody? I work for Ultimate Cigar Lounge here at Villa Park. So somebody asked me, he's like, ask Steve if he can make a 7-8 foot tall Sasquatch. I was like, I want to make that question.
Abe has.
Yeah. Abe
Really?
He's made like 5 of them.
What? Okay, I'll let him know.
I got 2 of them in my warehouse now. Okay. I mean, you can do it, and it was.
I think someone stole.
I don't want to speak out of turn because I didn't pay for it. So Abe will have to correct me, but I think they were like $9,000 or $8,000 a piece.
Wow.
And if I'm wrong, Abe, one way or the other, I apologize. But it was like, really, like, are you kidding me? You're gonna spend that amount of money?
There's people that are gonna spend that amount of money. Yes.
And that's what it cost for him to get it made. So yeah, it can be done. Am I gonna do it? Hell no, I'm not doing it. I don't even know if I'm ever gonna make the 2.5 foot ones ever again. Once I go through those, to be honest with you.
Joel did bring up a good point. He says you're looking slim. He's calling you the 40 gauge, Steve. So you do look like.
I wish the beard's just wide at the moment, and
it makes it skinnier.
Yeah, I've been. So I lost about 100 pounds.
Wow.
Over the last couple years, really mostly pretty slowly, but I've been stuck in the same like 10-pound range now for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And in fact, I decided last week I'm just going to eat really heavy for a couple of weeks. Okay. Just to kind of see if I can, like I'm going to put on 10 pounds to see if I can then get kickstart back the other way. Because I just can't break this plateau. I've been sitting at like 303 pounds, 303 to 308 forever.
Wow.
Right. And I'd really like to, and I know it's just a mental thing to get under 3, but I'd really like to just get under 3, but I haven't been able to crack it.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't matter what I do. So I've just decided maybe I'm trying too hard and I just need to give my body a little rest. And I actually ate a whole pizza and a half over the weekend, and I've been splurging a little with intent, though. Okay,
yeah,
there's a method to my madness.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, 4th of July is coming up, so it's time to pack in all those hamburgers and all those chips.
And let me say this: it took me 2 days to eat that pizza and a half. Where 3 years ago I could have eaten a pizza half in one sitting. So even me binging is not the way I used to binge, but I don't know.
Yep.
I'll see if it makes a difference.
Yep. Wayne enjoyed your Gorilla Gordo. He says it surprised him. He doesn't only smoke large ring gauge, but it was all the malt and chocolate flavors without the kick.
Yeah, it's a nice cigar. I think it kind of gets lost. That's the problem when you make so much. There's a lot of good things that get lost in the mix that don't really get the time they deserve to shine.
Mm-hmm.
But look, it's the part of the job I enjoy. I enjoy making the blends. I don't enjoy the sales part. I don't enjoy the marketing part. I don't enjoy. I mean, it's not that I don't like people, but I don't like doing cigar events and all of that stuff in a big way. You know what I mean? And look, the business is the business. Look, logistics sucks, tariffs sucks, accountants sucks, attorneys suck. All those things just suck regardless of what business you're in. All these basic things that you have to do for business.
Did we lose Steve? Did we lose his audio?
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
I'm still here. You can't hear me?
I can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you. Yeah, keep going.
All right. So the blending part, the creating of the cigars, and look, I even hit the graphics. I happen to make the images. If I could just get away with releasing blends with a 1, a 2, a 3, I could deliver something like literally every month, totally fresh, totally new. But I didn't have to worry about putting it in a box. Didn't have to worry about it being shelf friendly. Didn't have to worry about getting the bands and all the various artwork and the boxes made. I mean, the cigar part's the fun part. All the other stuff is the stuff that has to happen to let you do the good thing. And that's part of the reason why I end up creating so much, because it's the part that I actually enjoy, is the creating part. Now the question,
you put a lot of effort into the graphics, though, like the Circo de Chaparrito with the circus tent and all that.
I do and I don't. If you really look at my stuff, it's really very minimalist. I'm really taking relatively simple things and I'm just trying to use them in a way that gives it some sort of character or flair. I think there's a lot better packaging design out there than my packaging design. My packaging design, I think it looks good. I think it's suitable. I think it's practical. I think it fits my personality, which is important for me, trying to champion a brand. But at the same time, it's not what I would call elaborate. Now, where it gets elaborate is you take something as simple as Mi Querida that just is a word on a band, but you do a die cut that nobody's ever done before, because the die cut people tell you it can't be done, that you can't make those sharp points on a band, that there's no way you can apply the band, it's going to stick when you cut it, that's a problem. And then you also look at the same band and it has a very intricate transparent foil pattern in the background that I don't think most people notice until one day they hold it up against the light, or they see the light, they see how it shines, and then they can see that it actually has almost a translucent paisley pattern embedded in the band.
Yeah.
So I'll try to use techniques like that to take the simple and refine it. but no, graphic design is not my strong suit.
It's simple but elegant.
Mm-hmm. Joel Arnold's got a good question. This seems to be the rage, but a lot of companies are doing it. So will Dunbarton do a full whiskey barrel cigar, meaning aging, filler, binder, and wrapper? He thinks it'd be a great juice cigar.
Joel, you're gonna hate what I'm about to tell you. That's just all marketing bullshit. you realize how little tobacco you can actually fit in a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that these companies that do this, they have 20, 30 show barrels. Yeah. It's really like barrels. It ties into a romance thing. So the reason why barrels exist in relation to tobacco is because when you were a little chinchillas and wherever, South Florida, it's 1875. You're buying raw tobacco. You need to ferment this tobacco. In order to ferment tobacco, Cuban seed tobacco, you need a minimum of like 3,200, 3,400 pounds roughly to build a Palone. And it has to be 3,200, 3,400 pounds of the same texture tobacco, right? So even if you're doing a crude sort into just basically Seco, Viso, Lajero textures, right? Which at this level, you're not. Okay, we're much more refined than that. We break it up a lot more than just that. But let's just say you do a crude sort, and let's say your crop is evenly perfectly split, which it isn't. Okay, you still need a minimum of 10,000 pounds, and you really need 15,000 pounds to even just begin fermenting, right? To just even get off the ground. This is what you need. And if it's like broadleaf or stock cut, you need like over 4,000 pounds, like 4,200, 4,300 pounds in order to get a bulk of Palone to actually do what a Palone is supposed to do. So what the barrel enabled them to do was it let them put tobacco in a barrel and then to press the barrel down and actually simulate the weight by basically pressing the barrel into the tobacco and stacking, cement blocks, okay, or using a press to actually cause pressure in the barrel. So it gave them a way to ferment tobacco in much, much smaller quantities. And that was what the purpose of the whole barrel thing was. It was a workaround because they would never have the money or the space to buy what they would need to ferment the way you would in a bulk or a Palone. It's very romantic, but the reality is anybody I'm not saying that everybody's it's all bullshit, but if you look at the quantity of some of these things, they don't have enough barrels, okay? You would literally need to have like 500 barrels. I mean, it's like, and even that isn't quite enough, So I personally feel it's more of a gimmick than a reality. It's something where the story is much more romantic than the truth. That's my personal opinion, which I'm sure everybody that has a barrel product will say I'm just being a dick and I don't know what I'm talking about. And you know what? Maybe they're doing something miraculously different than anything I have seen in the last 30, 40 years. So I don't want to say that they're lying, but that's the way barrels actually are. That's the purpose of it. Is setting stuff in a barrel. I mean, yes, over time will it take on some flavor? It absolutely will. Okay, dealing if it's a charred barrel or if it's a barrel that formerly held whiskey, it'll definitely take on some of those nuances. But you know how long it has to sit in that barrel for that to occur?
Mm-hmm.
And what you have 60 pounds, maybe 120 pounds in a barrel, depending on the size of the barrel. One bale worth of tobacco. It don't go far.
Right. Yep.
You ain't making a lot of cigars out of that.
Sammy Flo is thanking you for putting out the deep cut sampler. He says it's a great combo of cigars.
Yeah, that was like it was a mechanism for me to use the word of Sakas so the tobacco didn't go to waste. And B, it also answers a universal question I get asked all the time. What's your favorite Dunbarton?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. These are my favorite right here in the sale. These are the 10 cigars I smoke the most frequently all the time.
Yep.
Some of them are my very expensive, and some of them are, there's an Umbagog bronze back in there, right? So, I mean, some of them are just, these are it. And you'll also notice there's things in there that aren't in there. right, that you would assume would be. But that's genuinely my 10. And I imagine that if I were to make a deep cut sampler, I imagine 3 years from now, probably 5 or 6 of those 10 will still be there. But I bet 4 of them will get replaced by something else as to what I'm, smoking currently. Right. So I wasn't smoking much Sumatran at all. I just had done the Sumatran for the Fiddlehead project. And that's the way I tend to do these things. I tend to start with the exclusive, and it's kind of the training wheels. And you get experience with this new tobacco, something you haven't used before. And then I brought it out, which we did for 10th Jubilee, right? But again, it's one SKU, right? It's not like a full-fledged line. And here we are going into the next year, and there'll be a Sumatran brand and it's kind of the way I baby step my way through. So looking at the deep cut sampler, it's very hard for me to envision that 2 or 3 years from now, that not one of the Sumatran blends that I have been working on doesn't end up in the deep cut sampler, and that somebody that's in the sampler now will have to get the boot. Now, I don't know who that'll be, because the sampler was actually based on the true numbers of what I smoke. So
is the 10th Jubilee going to be a regular release, or is that?
Yeah, we're making it in batches. So we took pre-orders for more to come out later in the year. So we're not making it 24/7. But yeah, I've always been of the attitude that we will always make more of everything as long as we can make it the same and keep the quality and consistency. That is the job. The job is to roll weeds into a tube, put them in boxes for people to light on fire. Now, the only thing that we have that we intentionally limit unicorns. Okay. But I don't know that if we made twice as many unicorns, we would even get that many unicorns out in the universe, because how many people are going to smoke those, right? It's a special occasion kind of smoke. So I don't think that ramping up production actually is going to make unicorns more or less available. I think anybody that wants a unicorn can find a unicorn at this point. And then the other thing that we're intentionally limiting is the year of releases. Those year of releases are dedicated for that particular year. But that doesn't mean that maybe 5 years from now, I won't do a sampler, an anthology of a pair of cigars from the last 5 year ofs, right? And then maybe a bonus, that'll be my year of the toaster year or something. That way someone doesn't feel slighted that I didn't call. I only got 2 cigars in a box. But, so even with that, one of the things that used to always bug me when I was at Drew, and I saw it with the Tuaje, any brand that gets really hot, it's just that whole flipper thing ends up happening. And I don't know why. It always just rubbed me really wrong. I mean, I remember, when we were making Feral Flying Pigs, we as a company made $1 a cigar on a Feral Flying Pig, right? Go through all that work, all that tobacco, all that purchase, all that time, all that effort. We made $1 a cigar at the end of the rainbow, right? And then some mucky muck walks into the store and there's 4 boxes there, and he has enough room on his credit card, and he buys all 4 boxes. And then he turns around and sells them for 4 times more than what he paid for them in the retail store. This guy that did nothing other than having some available credit and being at the right place at the right time ends up making all of this money. Now, look, that's capitalism. Okay. But I don't need to set up a system that makes that worthwhile. And I think everybody has learned, look, Dunbarton used to be impossible to get, right? Well, now we're making over 2,000 boxes in the last, 12 months.
Wow.
Right? Now, if you want Dunbarton, it's available, right? Yeah, you might have missed out on frog juice the first few times, but this time when he put frog juice up, he still had 70 boxes available on the pre-order. I don't know if he's all sold them out by now. You know what I mean? So I will always come back and make it again. Because I know there's people that either really enjoyed it and want more of it, or there's people that missed out. And those are the people that missed out are actually the ones that are willing to pay the crazy flipper prices, right? Those are the ones that end up spending crazy money for a bundle of, tenderloins, right? Was it pork tenderloin? Was that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, pork tenderloin. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, and look, I don't know why he made them and then he never made them. For all I know, it has a special tobacco in it and he couldn't do it, right? And that may be the answer. I don't know. When Pete got like super hot, I was already in my Jewish state world, right?
Mhm.
So I was
He
buried
did make them
that.
again
I
last
wasn't
year.
there. And I know he's made them since. But the point is, I don't want to do anything to encourage flipping. It's not, I don't make more money. My purveyors don't make any money. It's just, no. At the same time, I don't begrudge a consumer that spends his money and then sells the cigars. But I don't need to create an artificial shortage that's going to help the flipper market expand.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see, and look, it hurts me, right? Because if I didn't make these things on repeat, I would get so much more buzz out of them from a marketing perspective. I mean, if I never made more Don Derma, I never made more Kanalam, I never made more U-Boat, I never made, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those things would be like almost like gold. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It bothered me as a consumer. It bothered me when I was a principal at a company. It still bothers me. I don't begrudge it. It's out there. People can choose to spend what they want to spend. I'm the guy that would just rather get it at retail when the time comes. And I've got other cigars to smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's a great thing too. I mean, you said it, I think the first time I heard you say it was with Wagashi, and you're like, it's going to come back out. I'm bringing it back out. If you didn't get it this time, don't worry about it. It's going to come back out. So it's nice.
Look, Wagashi's being made just like Brûlé Bleu. And it's being made. And look, and Wagashi, we caught up with Wagashi quicker than we caught up with Brûlé Bleu. We still go out of stock on Wagashi. We still go out of stock on Brûlé Bleu, but it's not like Brûlé Bleu. Brûlé Bleu was a train wreck because the demand was so high on it. And with that long lead time, because even if you live by the exact 1 year of age mark, you had to pull that trigger 16 months earlier. You know what I mean? So it's not just 12 months because, you got to have it in your production plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cigars have to be made.
Yep.
And so you're basically, from the point you say, wow, I need more Brûlé Bleu, you're 16 months away from, hey, I need more Brûlé Bleu. And then it's a question of, oh, well, how much more do I need? Well, you keep selling out. You don't know if you made 2 more boxes that you would have hit your limit, right? The fact that you're selling out doesn't tell you anything, doesn't give you any idea that, oh, I need twice as much,
right?
I need 3 times as much, right? So you're making a decision with today's dollars that you're not going to find out whether you were right or wrong for at least 16 months. So what ends up happening is you end up, okay, we're selling through all this. Let's put another pair on. Let's go ahead and make an additional 1,000 cigars a week, right? Let's see if that 1,000 cigars a week is going to be enough to satisfy the demand. Oh, well, and you can't wait even 16 months because you wait 16 months to make that another whatever. So to get Brûlé Bleu even took longer than to get Solita Red even. And Solita Red got much more even than even Wagashi got even. Mm-hmm. And we still run out of stock on these things, but we're not out of stock for months and months at a time anymore on any of it. So, it's just a question of better understanding the market and how many people actually want to smoke these cigars.
Do you think with limited releases, do you think that brands do themselves an injustice with some of these when they put out 300 packs, 310 packs, and they're like, okay, this is a limited release, and that's all we're doing, and they sell out? Do you think they do themselves an injustice in not thinking that far ahead, going, hey, if this is a great cigar, can we produce it again? Or
well, the reality is most things don't sell out. A lot of most limited releases don't sell out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, from Pete Johnson, they sell out, right? But there's like maybe 3 or 4 companies that make a limited that typically sells out.
Right.
Most limiteds, they're sticking around for a little while. They really are. So, I mean, where I think you as a company, this is a philosophical thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think limiteds and exclusives, I think they need to be used like a condiment, right? They're really not. They're really meant for your most serious, hardcore consumers.
Mm-hmm.
The people that they've smoked your brands all the time, they're very familiar with it. It's giving them something that's new and different, right? Something for them to look forward to, right? But in the end, I mean, even with all the limiteds we do, it isn't even 3% of our production, right?
Right.
So for me, the limiteds are much more, gives me the ability to express what I like to do, the blending part. So it gives me an outlet. It also is good marketing for the company because it ends up always generating a little bit of buzz, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in our case, which is always good. And look, when people were like, oh, I can't wait to try Sober Mesa, Salida Red, Salida Red, Salida Red. Well, there's a lot of people who've never even heard of a Sober Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
So them just seeing the word Sober Mesa gets them maybe, oh, let me try that brand,
Sure.
right? They don't, because the average consumer, you're lucky if they can remember this was red and that was blue, right? So thinking that they're keeping track of all your various Vitolas and SKUs and front marks is just, that's a fool's thought. So you get that benefit, of creating that buzz. You also get the benefit of giving your most loyal customers, because look, they're human. They want to try new stuff too. Well, why let them go try all this other new stuff? If I can make something that they are going to be happy with or pleased with or excited about, let them choose to spend their new money with me and spend it with somebody else. I mean, it's just basic, competitive capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
I can't force them to spend their money that way, but I do know that if I don't look, one of the problems with the exclusives are the exclusives have to be different. Otherwise, because a lot of companies, they make these exclusives and it's just this core blend in a different size,
Right.
or this core blend with a different wrapper, right? They don't actually make something really unique and different. But I think that's a huge mistake, because I think if you really think about the people that are buying it, they're your most loyal customers that are going out of their way to buy something sight unseen, on good faith, that they're trusting you, right?
Right.
And they're not trusting me for a $6 cigar. They're trusting me for a $15 to $20 cigar. And they're having to buy it from a retailer that they may not otherwise ever do business with, who they may not particularly like. They may not like their shipping. They may not like the way they handle, they don't have a proper internet site, whatever, right? So they're going through these hurdles. So the cigar has to be something that has some value to it. Now, I can't promise you that you'll like it, but what I can tell you is that when you smoke a Canalam, it doesn't taste like a Mi Querida.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, the color is the same, but it's a distinctly different blend. Now,
Right.
The downside is, as you get off onto these tangents, you get further and further from your core kind of profile. Okay. My core profile is where my core is. Okay. And then as I get it, sometimes these things on the edges I just absolutely love and I go crazy for. But a lot of those too are single vitolas that the blends have been crafted to just work in that size.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It doesn't just translate up and down, and that doesn't work for a brand that you're going to release nationally. You need to be able to make a Robusto, you need to be able to make a Toro, you need to be able to make a double Corona. You know what I mean? There's you got to be able to span that blend across at least 4 or 5 sizes where it's pleasurable and enjoyable, right? And there are some blends that don't work well that way, right? They only work like in the Western Saka, Naka Tamale. Love Naka Tamale. I have made that cigar in sizes above and sizes below. It just isn't as good. And I don't have the flexibility because Naka Tamale is made out of only 2 tobaccos. It's the entire filler is from one farm.
Okay.
And the wrapper and binder is the same seed from one farm. So there's only 2 actual tobaccos in that cigar. And the only difference is the sorting and the texture and the weight and the thickness and yada, yada, yada. And then the proportion with the blend. But there isn't room to really try to scale that blend, because it's not like I'm working with a lot of diverse ingredients that I go, okay, well, this one's more like this and this is more like that. And as I make the cigar rings larger, the cigar ends up smoking cooler, combustion rate goes down. So how am I going to increase the octane level? I need to strengthen it. Well, I can't strengthen it because I only got this one Lajero from this one thing to work with, right?
Right.
Okay. I can heavy up on my VSO to try to get the combustion temperature up, but then the VSO just ends up washing out the Ligero. So a lot of these things, when you're making these exclusives, they are kind of Vitola dependent in a lot of cases, because I'm not blending with I'm going to make this into a full brand. Now, sometimes Red Meat Lover started off as a single 6x56.
Right.
It started off as a 6x56 Pareo. Wasn't even a Prensado. And then we made another release of 6x56. And then I said, okay, let's press this, and then let's change the size of this, and boom, boom, boom. As I got more into it, I was like, okay, this is a blend that translates well.
Mm-hmm.
Can be made into, can make Coronas, can make double Coronas, can make A's, can make all sorts of sizes out of the Red Meat Lovers blend. That works. The Brulee Blue blend does not work.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I've tried to make a bigger Brulee Blue, and it's just Brulee yuck. It just does not work. And in the Cosmic Corona sampler is a smaller Brulee Blue. There's a 5x44. I don't think I like it as much as the Brulee Blue.
Wow.
Personally.
Wow.
The one that's in the Cosmic Corona sampler.
Huh.
But it was the only way I could take Brulee Blue in a size direction that didn't, because like it's initially a 46 ring gauge cigar, right?
Yep.
It's initially a 6 1/4 inch length. So we're talking about 2 ring gauges an inch. And what is this between friends? It doesn't sound like much, but I can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like it smoking better in a 6 1/4 than I do 6 1/4 46 than I like it in the 5x44.
Mm-hmm.
Now, consumers are going to smoke it, and you know what? I'm sure some of them are going to say they like it way better in that format. This is a perfectly great cigar. I just prefer the other format.
Yeah. Chris Duque has another question. He wants to know how the project is working with Cigar Dojo coming on the Sumatra Samurai.
No, that's the one I had a trademark issue with. So it's
there you go, Chris.
That's the one. The cigar is done, but that's going to be the one that we end up debuting at Cigartopia that has yet to have a name. For all I know, and I would even use that cigar with no name if Drew State didn't already have a cigar with a girl with no name or something like that. So I don't need to get into another trademark issue.
No.
So right now it may be called TBD on the band, to be determined. I gotta think. Well, look, it's meant to be. The blend is meant to be a full release.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing for me to give something a kitschy little whatever name. You know what I mean? Krakatoa or whatever.
Right.
But it's different when you're thinking about from a full brand, with some sort of iconography. Yeah. So I kind of got reset on that. Cigar's done. Brand isn't done at all.
Nice. I know there's a lot of people looking for, because you let that out of the cat. You let that cat out of the bag early last year. I think you did it on the cigar at the Docella last year. Sitting there, I think you announced it.
But we were already talking about it before.
Yeah.
Because I knew, look, Jordan's handle is Sumatran Samurai.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to name the cigar Sumatran Samurai, and when I started Googling around, I then found out, this is what Jordan calls himself. So I was like, okay, let me invite the dojo guys in.
Uh-huh.
So that way they'd be okay with me using Jordan's nickname. Okay,
right.
So what do we call it? A handle? What do we call that?
And I guess a handle or
avatar, whatever we call it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't even know what we call it. Okay. So, and he was, of course, they were on board with that. But then I found out that Abdel had a samurai.
Oh.
And I had forgotten about it. And then I thought, well, there's a lot of words that we get away with using duplicates as long as they're distinctive enough.
Yep.
And that's when I went back to the USPTO. I said, well, it's going to be Sumatran Samurai. And what if I claim no ownership to the word samurai? Right? It's only the combination of Sumatran Samurai.
Yeah.
Then they took another 12 weeks, 14 weeks to tell me no. Of course, collected another $3K. To tell me no.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God.
That's kind of left me in a position where, I'm a little bit behind, and I gotta come up with something that I like, and I just haven't yet. I gotta be honest.
TBD is always a good one. That's always a good one.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure by the time I get done, the thing is, I have to have something. If I want to even put it on a band, I got to have a decision like in the next and even if it's a simple factory band, I got to know in the next 45 days.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if I don't, it'll be to be determined, or maybe it'll just be 2 quotation marks with dead space in between it.
There you go.
Like the underline. I don't know.
Just put a picture of a samurai on it. That's it. Just put a picture of a samurai on it and go, there you go. I'm done.
That would not get me out of my trademark problem.
Fireborn is going out of left field on this one. He wants to know what your best cigar advice is and what your best life advice is.
Oh, dude, this is like an impossible question.
I know.
You just asked me what kind of tree I wish I were. Let me see here.
I think you gave your best cigar advice. Smoke what you have. Don't sit on it.
I mean, I have so much cigar advice. I mean, I think when you're new, and when I say new, I mean literally in your first 10 years, try to control your spending. Because whatever you're absolutely in love with, you're not going to be. And it's not that what you were in love with is bad. It's just your palate is going to change a lot in the first 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of cigars aging that they bought that really they wish they had bought something else. But at the time, it made a lot of sense to them to buy them. And I know it's hard because you feel like, oh my God, if I don't buy it, I'm never going to get it again. But just stop. It's cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The mechanics of cigars have not changed. There is nothing that is truly, really unique. Okay. Where there's not, it just isn't it. So I think slow your buying down a little is a good thing in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I also think on the other end, though, completely always jumping around. I'm going to try something new every day. I'm never going to smoke the same cigar ever. That's also bad too, because it doesn't give you the opportunity to really train your palate to really become familiar with, to really zone in on what you like and you don't like, because you're going to pretty much find something in everything, unless it's bad, that you like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you also, while you're playing the field and you're kissing all the girls, I think you should date a little bit too. You know what I mean? Just spend a little time, become familiar with, all the various broadleaf, smoke Liga, smoke Tabernacle, smoke Mi Querida, smoke some Pepin broadleaf, try some Fuente and Neos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Try to get a sense of, okay, what is this broadleaf spectrum like? Because even there's quite a bit of diversity between, all of these brands. So I think, not just hodgepodging is not going to get you to the promised land quicker. It doesn't make you. I think the other thing too is you really have to filter out the noise and figure out what you personally like. Okay. Because look, there's some top lists I look at. They're literally a top list of it's a top 25 of 20 cigars I just really don't want to smoke. You know what I mean? My palate just doesn't align with this reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that he's being dishonest or biased or whatever. It's just, look, we just don't agree. And we all have different likes and dislikes, right? Some people hate anchovies in their Caesar salad. Other people it can't be a Caesar salad if it doesn't have anchovies in it. You know what I mean? So you gotta take all of these rankings and ratings and just everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. And in the end, it doesn't actually matter, because you're doing it for what you enjoy and what you get pleasure out of. And that takes time, because it takes time to become confident enough. And the other thing too is, as you're on that journey, you're also going to learn, well, what are the reviewers that I trust more because their palate aligns with me, right? Like at Half Wheel. Charlie and I smoke very different types of cigars. Charlie likes a much more nuanced, much lighter, more elegant, more refined. And I'm not saying he doesn't like the others too, but if you look at where he tends to rate really high, it tends to be more in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas somebody like Patrick and my palate are much more closely. Brooks too. more on a little bit on the heavier, more on the little bit gritty, a little bit more on the fuller body style of cigars. So, you'll start to learn what media are more relevant for you, right? And you'll start to learn that, and that takes time. The other thing too is just understand that when you're getting cigar advice on the internet, I mean, most of these knuckleheads have like so little cigar experience. I mean, you're in a popular YouTube channel or a popular forum, and there's these guys that are just, they rant and rave about this or that. These guys, they might have smoked 2,000 cigars in their entire lives.
Right.
I mean, they're smoking one cigar a day, if even, right? That's 365 cigars a year, right? 3 years. Look, I'm not saying that what they're saying doesn't have merit, but it certainly doesn't have weight.
Right.
Right. So you need to sort these things out for yourself. Right. Because there's a lot of times I look at things and I see them raving about a particular thing. I'm like, why? I don't get that. Like, I understand. Oh, I want a cigar that tastes like this. So this brand, that brand, this people that make this, it's actually better and it costs less. Now, I don't say anything because you could spend 24/7 doing that. Right. And in the end, for that person individual anyways, I may just be completely wrong because they also have their own individual palates. But you can't look at, everyone has a voice. What I'm saying to you is you should not treat all voices as equal. Okay. And you need to, and the only way that ends up happening is you over time and experience, you get to the point where for me, like, I could really care less about ratings and reviews and rankings. They in no way sway my purchasing. Where in 1993, I was the guy just like everybody else, ripping out the top 25 cigars from Cigar Aficionado and going to the retail store and using it like a grocery list. Right? That was me in 93.
Yep.
That's not me at all now.
Right.
Now what'll end up happening is I'll look at a top list and there'll be something on there and I'll see it on multiple top lists. And, I got to try that. I've seen this thing pop up in 4 or 5 different lists. Pretty high. Got to give it a chance. Or sometimes I'll see something high on a list, on multiple lists that I tried and I dismissed. Like, I didn't like that at all. And it'll make me go back and revisit it and go, well, you know what? Maybe I got a bad one. Maybe I was in a bad mood. Maybe whatever, right? So let me go back and revisit it because this seems to be something that a lot of people are finding value in. And I just kind of thought it was either blah or mediocre. So that's kind of the way I use the list as a consumer, as a smoker. Now, as a manufacturer, I use the list to say, wow, look how great I'm doing, right? That's how you use the list. But even in that case, it's more about just acknowledging the people that put the list together and saying thank you to them. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that other than number one in Cigar Aficionado, I don't know that there's anything that moves the dial. And even a number one in Cigar Aficionado today does not move the dial the way it used to move the dial. Okay. So I don't know that, look, you want to be high on the list. Everybody wants to be acknowledged for their work. It's just human nature. I'm no different than that. But at the same time, from a commercial point of view, there's plenty of brands that if you just post their name, you're going to get 25 comments right underneath about what a shit cigar it is. Shit brand it is and what a shit cigar it is. And guess what? They sell a fuck ton more cigars than I sell. So, I mean, and I guess the other thing too, if you're watching a podcast about cigars, you just have to embrace the fact that you're just not normal. You're like really, really into this.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you're just not normal because most people, they smoke cigars on the golf course. They smoke cigars at the poker party. They even smoke a couple cigars on the weekend while they're grilling. They got 1 or 2 things that they like. They just buy that same 1, 2, 3 thing. You know what I mean? They're not into it, and that legitimately is. 95 to 97% of the market is that, right?
Yep.
Maybe even higher. Okay. But I mean, even volume wise, yeah, they don't buy as much, but there's a hell of a lot of those people compared to us four and whoever's watching this.
Uh-huh.
We are the Abby normal. Okay. So you just kind of have to embrace that and understand that your perspective is not even necessarily the perspective of your retailer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he wants to serve you because you're a great customer. But in the end, you're at his 3% customers, right? No matter how much you buy compared to who's typically coming through the door and buying cigars. Now, every shop has its own flavor. Some shops attract more serious cigar smokers because the more serious cigar smokers tend to find a way to join together. So you're going to go into some shops that are the opposite, but most shops are kind of cash and carry kind of places.
Yep.
Guys might come in there and sit down and smoke an Oliva whatever, or a Macanudo this, or a Monte Cristo white, but they're not into cigars the way that people watching this are into cigars.
Exactly. Yep.
They're just not.
No.
So coming to that realization early on is good. Also, unless you live in the desert at like some crazy altitude or something, or it's the dead of winter, I think people are just way too anal about their storage. Like cigars are not nearly as delicate as you were told. I mean, look, we roll them in unair conditioned environments, right? We pack them in boxes. We ship them in a third world country. It's 100 fucking degrees when we put them in the goddamn container. They're in the container for 3 weeks, right? They come, it's so they're not as fragile as everybody thinks they are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, they end up, just if you're going to get into it, just do yourself a favor and buy a damn good hygrometer, because almost all the ones in the market just genuinely suck.
Yep.
And even the good ones, they're still going to be plus or minus 3%. Okay. That's a good one. If you want something that's really accurate and really good, you got to pony up like $2,000. Okay. For like a really good hygrometer that's like really, 0.2%, 0.4% plus or minus accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who has that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
But right. I have them in the warehouse, but you're looking at millions of dollars worth of cigars that you're paying attention to what the humidity is on. Right. Exactly. It's a different story. But us at home, average consumer, nah.
Yep.
And what you're going to find is eventually you're going to figure out what the right humidity is for you. And you're going to get to the point that you don't even really need the hygrometer. You're just going to be able to tell when you cut it. You're going to be able to tell when you put it in your mouth. You're going to be able to tell when you're drawing on it.
Exactly.
It just becomes like second nature. The problem is that takes time to get to that point. And at the same time, you as a new consumer, you're freaking out because you just bought these cigars and they cost you anywhere from $5 to $30 a piece. So you're like, damn, I got $2,000 sitting in this little box. I don't want to ruin it. I completely understand the apprehension, but what I'm telling you is just, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I leave cigars in my truck. I leave cigars on my desk. I leave cigars all over the place. Yeah, if you live in Vegas, you got to pay a lot more attention. You live in Colorado, high altitude, you got to pay a bit more attention. But most of us, it isn't nearly as rocket sciencey as they make it out to be. And I think a lot of new consumers really agonize an awful lot on this, and there's really no need for them to do so.
Put them in a Tupperware with a 65 Boveda, and you're good.
Call it a day.
Yep.
Call it a day. Yep.
I mean, and then there you go. It's done. And look, and back in the day, cigars used to be so fresh and so nasty. You used to have to always burp those Tupperwares, right? Because it would end up getting a lot of ammonia in them. But that isn't even the case so much anymore. Yep. Most of the products are a higher grade than what we used to get in the 80s and 90s. So it's I think people get a little crazy.
Yeah. Gary Brooks is accepting
life advice. Good God, I don't know. Life advice. Everything you say is so cliche. Be yourself. Do what you want. I mean, it's like what I don't even look at all those cliche things are true, right? That's why they're cliches. I mean,
the best advice I heard probably in the last week was just be nice to each other. Just be nice to people. You know, and you're going to find.
See, and I only want to be nice to people that are worth being nice to.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be nice to everybody. I just don't. I don't see. You know what I mean? I don't even get that. It's like I'm not just being nice to be nice. I'm being nice because out of respect. But at some point, like you don't warrant that respect, so you don't get that courtesy any longer. So yep. I would argue some of the best life advice is to not be nice sometimes, you know, because those are the things that chew you up inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when you're having to just suck it up, right?
Yep.
And you know you shouldn't, you know, it's just too much angst.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I've always felt that one of the greatest life skills is just the ability to say no.
Yeah.
Learning to say no. And not saying no in a malicious way, just say, listen, I simply don't have the capacity. I just simply don't have the time.
Yep.
You know, because people will suck up every single minute of your life.
Yep.
And they don't intend to. Chris, you're listening. Chris just his fucking tags every day. You know, I mean, I should be grateful. He's tagging me like 42,000 times. Okay? You know how many Chris Duque notifications I have to read every fucking day? I mean, good God. And he's like doing me a favor, right? He's promoting the brand. So
yep.
I can't say
Fuck yeah.
Chris, stop, right? Why am I going to do that? But the reality is, I mean, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's everything.
Yep.
It's 300 emails a day. It's a couple hundred DMs. It's what you see. Boom, boom, boom. You know, you add in phone calls. You add in all these other stuff. I mean, it's just you have so many ways that time gets sucked out of you in this interconnected society that trying to find. Look, I haven't found a way to manage it yet, so I'm just speaking out my ass here. But I know that I think is my greatest challenge, to find a way to modulate that. Because guess what? You do get a little testy, you get a little angry. I mean, and look, most people don't have jobs where it's public and they're critiquing every fucking thing you do.
Yep.
Right? You don't have the internet, like every little thing you do in your job every day giving you their 2 cents for good and for bad.
Yep.
Right? So, you know, it takes a certain, you got to find a way to separate it to a degree. And that's easier said than done.
Yep.
And I think I just got there sooner than a lot of other people because I've been doing it so long, because I was doing this online bullshit back in the 90s.
Yeah.
The moment I had my first AOL dial-up and my little coupling thing, you know, you put your phone.
Yep.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. The audio coupler.
I do. Teddy
on it.
No, I do. I had it.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was crazy, right? When you think about how just like archaic this is compared to what we do today.
Yeah, and then you're on the internet and someone's talking on the phone and you lose a connection.
You got connected. Yeah.
Mom!
Yes. Hey, Mike, if you want to do a commercial break, and also I'll be taking notes of all the people commenting. We have 53 people that are watching, but only 34 are counted, and I have the names down of who commented it. So,
all right,
I got 37, Teddy.
There we go. 34, 37. There we go.
There you go.
Let's do a quick commercial break. We're going to then do our raffle, and then we'll close out the show. We're going on 2 hours with Steve, and I know he's got stuff to do. So let's do a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back. Somewhere, maybe.
Step into luxury at Ultimate Cigar Lounge, where passion meets perfection. Discover a world of premium cigars, hand-selected from the finest tobacco regions. From bold beginners to seasoned aficionados, our curated collection delights every palate. Grab a cigar from our amazing selection, pair it with freshly brewed coffee or fine spirits, and sit back and relax in an atmosphere of elegance and warmth. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, your haven for unforgettable moments. Visit us today and ignite your senses. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, located in Villa Park, Illinois. Looking for the ultimate eyewear experience in Chicagoland? Discover Eyewear Fix, your premier eyewear store for over 28 years. From sunglasses to sports glasses to safety gear, we've got it all at every price point. Bring your prescription, and we'll handle the rest. Our appointment-only office offers a private, concierge-style experience tailored to your busy schedule. Call or text Chris at 630-853-4167 to book your visit and see why Eyewear Fix surpasses expectations. Eyewear Fix, where style meets precision. Get your fix today.
This episode of Chi-Town Cigar was brought to you by Aganorsa Leaf Cigars, where great cigars begin exactly where they should, with the tobacco. Grown from authentic Cuban seed tobacco on Aganorsa's own farms in Nicaragua, these cigars are built in flavor, balance, and craftsmanship. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. From the first leaf to the final draw, you taste the difference when the leaf comes first. Aganorsa Leaf Cigars, the leaf is our strength. All right.
Ruined Terrence's commercial by shining my bald head with a towel. Everyone buy an Agrinosa cigar is my
Oh,
well, my sin. I'll buy a couple this week, Terrence.
There you go. Well, it's been great, Marty. So do we have? Are we going with 37? Is that where we're at? 37 people.
37 is what I counted.
All right, 37
with numbers.
Cool.
No, I mean, I compared myself with an engineer, so I did good. I missed 3, so
yeah. So let's pick a number. Marty, did you have it queued up to pick a number between 1 and 37, or do you need me to do that?
I don't have that queued up.
Okay, hold on. I'll do that real quick. Carry on.
do you want to say the names that you have, see who I missed?
No.
Yeah, you're opening a can of words. Let them just all assume they're in.
Yep.
Let them file a complaint with the FCC about unfair practice.
There you go. So the first thing we're raffling off is a Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust hat and a 4-pack of cigars, and that is going to number 17. Marty, who's number 17?
17 is Matthew Beauregard.
Matthew Beauregard.
Oh, congratulations.
If you're still here, you need to email us. I will put our email address up. I need you to email
ultimatecigar@gmail.com.
I need you to email us your name and address of where we can ship this, and we will get it shipped out in the continental United States. If Chris Duque wins, we're gonna have an issue, but we'll figure that out, I guess.
Priority mail, USPS, same price.
Oh, there we go. You
can do Alaska, continental US, Guam, Puerto Rico. You can use the priority mail service.
All right. And then the last one is our Chi-Town Cigar Podcast ashtray. We have one more of these left, thanks to Al, Big Al. Warriors of the Leaf is his website. He makes these. Well, he makes ashtrays. He makes cigar rests. We have our own. I don't have mine handy. Marty, do you have your Chi-Town Cigar pot? Yeah, there we go. So we have that's a cigar rest. If you want one of those are available. So. And that number
rest, does it fit on his hat?
Yeah, it fits on his hat.
I got it.
Yeah. So Al made those up special for us. And that number is going to be 37, Marty. Number 37.
37. That's on page 2.
Ooh.
Brad Highnote.
So Brad, if you're still here, email us at chitowncigar@gmail.com and we will get those sent out to you.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah. Steve, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking time out. This was a show that we all looked forward to, and I think we probably pumped it up about as much as we could with letting everybody know you were going to be here. We had a great viewing audience.
You didn't say anything controversial.
No, you
still
have
time.
Okay, good. You give me something controversial to talk about. You can ask me life advice. I mean,
well,
I do have good cigar advice that may be controversial. I remember I was at an event, and I remember this mother came in with her son, and he was just graduating high school, and they were going to have a graduation party, and she wanted to buy a box of cigars for him for the graduation party. She wanted to buy cigars, and I told her to not do it. I said, "Don't do it. This is terrible, bad idea. Because if he likes it, you're damning him to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of his lifetime. You have no idea how much money he is going to spend on cigars. Just get them heroin now, okay? 3 years, they bottom out, or they get clean, but it's over, right?
Yep.
There's no cigars. Don't start cigars. Cigars is something you can do well into your 90s, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So that's my advice. Heroin, not cigars.
Steve, thank you for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. It's a huge honor. So you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I mean, it was a great time.
Our 85th episode. 85th episode.
85th episode. So we're moving right along. I'm going to get Dave Garofalo on here and say, hey, Dave, we did it. You told people not to do a cigar podcast because you wouldn't make it past 10 episodes. We've made it to 85 and doing well. So
he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, he has.
It's a lot of work. It's a big commitment. I mean, everybody's busy. Everybody has families. Everybody has jobs. And at least my excuse is I make a living with cigars. I mean, very few people on the media side. They all do it because they're passionate about it. They're interested in it. They enjoy it. But it's a lot more work than people realize. It's, it really is. And just, fighting the technical problems and all of those things. And it's tough. And you three have to coordinate your schedules together. And that isn't easy to do. And Terry, you have a young family?
No, I do not.
You don't. Okay. But you eventually will.
Yes.
Right, Teddy, you eventually will. And I'm assuming, Marty, your kids are what? 85?
They're all grown. Yeah. They're out of college.
That's the best thing. Marty and I look at each other and go, we're home alone. There's our kids are gone, and so it's like, hey,
3 grandchildren now. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And look, and my wife doesn't care because we've been married 41 years, so she doesn't need to seeing less of me as a benefit, not a negative. So she's like, okay, you're gonna do a podcast, great.
Yep.
I get control of the television. I can watch whatever I want.
My wife wanted me to say hi to you, so she said she was going to listen.
She was watching.
Tell her hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And if you were afraid that Steve wasn't controversial enough, next week we have Law Ream. So Law's got
funny though.
Yeah,
Law's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's going to be on our show next week with Camacho Davidoff. And that will be an interesting show for sure because, I'm
glad he graduated from driving the banana mobile all across the country.
Now he's in Justin Black. He's doing the Johnny Cash thing.
That literally sounds like hell to me, right? To drive a banana yellow vehicle all across the nation. Right.
In the
cigars. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The hot $6 cigars, right?
Yep.
It's a $6-7 cigar, right?
Yep.
Because the new Xenos are they're more in their economy portfolio, which is also just unbelievably strange to me.
Yeah.
Xeno Davidoff was the pinnacle of sophistication, luxury, elegance, and the fact now that Xeno is an economy cigar just blows me away. I'm not taking anything away from the cigar. I'm not saying it isn't good. I'm not saying it isn't worth the money. It's just the fact that that's the cigar that ends up ultimately having Xeno's name on it.
Yep.
It's just mystifying to me. But then again, I'm old like that. Most people have no clue who Xeno Davidoff was. But back in the day, there was literally 4 books written about cigars, and Xeno Davidoff was one of the books that existed out there that you could actually read in the 80s. There was nothing.
Yep.
So,
Chief has jumped in. So yes, Chief, we have Law Ream 2 days before you guys do. So we'll cross promote. He's going to be on our podcast on Tuesday, and he's going to be on Chief Talk on Thursday.
He is such a whore. Literally. Literally. Won't even let it go cool, right? I'm gonna go to the next.
Boom. You get them both. Get them both in. And everybody, for those of you in Chicago, I said July 25th. David Lafferty is going to be at Little Havana Cigar Shop in Frankfort, Illinois. Stop over there and see him. See Juan. Juan's the owner of the shop, a great guy. So that should be a good event as well. So
I gotta ask him about that.
Hey, I heard last night you're going to be on.
I know you were talking about it. I think he did mention he was going to go to Chicago.
There we go.
Chicago area.
There we go.
It's just something about it. And I just kind of like, okay, whatever.
All right, Marty, close us out.
All right. We set a lot of records tonight. I think we're at 2 hours and 4 minutes on the podcast. That's a record. We had like 46 people at one point. That was a record. Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciated it.
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
Until next week, everyone, put some smoke in the air.